Same time, same place, different race. Welcome along to the Red Bull Ring once again, where this weekend it is the 36th World Championship Grand Prix in Austria. It is the Austrian Grand Prix.
Well, 2 weeks in a row, a race being held at the Red Bull Rink in Austria.
Mate, you absolutely deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. You've had no luck. Not the rub of the grid.
So what we see once again is a circuit that the Red Bull cars do quite well at, considering they do a fair bit of testing there, you'd think, being the fact it's a home track. So Verstappen's on pole. Hamilton is in fourth on the grid. What happens is on lap 1/2, well, I think it's lap 1 it happens, there's a coming together, and it is Ocon gets sandwiched and it bends his front wheel in, puts him out of the race. They deploy a safety car and they don't get racing again until lap 4. So we'll pick it up around about there. So here we are with the F1 TV coverage, slowed down to a quarter speed. So you can see it through nice and slow, see what's going on. We'll actually need to press that one. Let's have a look. So you can see heading towards turn 4, you've got Perez trying to challenge Norris. This is the first lap after the safety cars come in. So this is lap 4 of 71. Perez has got the run on Norris. He's about half a car length ahead there on the outside. Okay, so as he's entitled to space on the outside. Look at the lines that they're taking around there. And then what happens is Norris runs him out of track space. Okay, so that's what happens. You can see what happens there. But when we do the onboards, you'll see that just how late this is from Perez in terms of Norris responding. And at what point in the braking zone, because this isn't broken down enough to the new fans of the sport. So we'll play this through again. So this is, I think this is the same thing again, or it might be, so I re-recorded this because I have to record this and then play it at a quarter speed. That's the only way you get a chance to see it as well. So I don't know there we go. Or is it F1 TV's a different angle now? We'll have a look. I'm working out how to get this so that you can see it. So look, if you see there, actually Perez is more than half a car length alongside, meaning he is entitled to track space around there. Okay, now obviously taking the tighter line, you soon come up on your opponent, but you've got to give him room. But Norris comes across to this side of the track and runs him out of room. And that is the incident. Now when we see the onboards though, you can see that Norris didn't have that much of an option. Okay, you can see there, just about that by that 50-meter board, Perez's rear tyre was roughly in line or just behind Norris's front. So that's the nature of the situation. Sorry if you're getting a bit of feedback. I'm hearing a bit of feedback from this video, but it is what it is on this one at the moment. I've got the onboards coming up, so that's the situation regarding them. I don't think there's any more to show you on that bit of footage, so I'm going to pause this one here. I think, yeah, that'll do for this. Okay, we now cut to the onboards. Now listen as well, because although it's slowed down to a quarter speed, what you will hear is the slowed down engine note, and you'll hear the gear changes, and you will hear the deceleration. And that's key, because you've got to look at the braking zone. When these drivers are driving along this straight at speeds of up to, say, 200 miles an hour, you've got to slow that car down to make it around a corner. Now, you're also slowing it down to make it around that corner in the line that you know you're going to have to take around that corner. And if at the last second a driver pops into view, meaning that they're now entitled to some track space, you have to take a different line, which means that your level of deceleration is all different, which is why this notion of the rules of engagement is what it is. Okay, by the recognized braking zone for the corner, that is the point in time whereby it is assessed whether or not that is your corner or not, whether or not you're entitled to racing room around that corner at the recognized braking zone, because that's the point in time where you're making your inputs as the driver, you're picking your line and your speed. These are the adjustments you're making. And if something then changes in that braking zone, when you are either braking or picking your line, you're having to deviate your line or your braking input at that critical moment. That's where there gives the rise for crashes. Hence, rules of engagement. At this point on the track, the recognised braking zone, if you are here, you're entitled to track room. If you're not, you have to back out. That is the way these things work, but they don't explain this to the kids. Okay, they don't explain it to the kids. They validate the late dive bomb, whereby the defending driver has to take evasive action, or they have to take adjustments of action during that braking zone and that phase where they are actually taking a corner. And that's not okay. That's not okay. Again, not explained to kids. But again, listen to the engine note of Norris's car and see when he's decelerating, and then see when and at what point he's picking his line for the round the corner, and then see when Perez pops into view. Anyway, let's see how this goes. So, 150-meter board. Perez is alongside. Okay. And I've just paused it a fraction of a second too slow. Perez is approximately half a car length ahead on the outside. That means he's entitled to track room. You can hear the engine note, you can hear the deceleration, there'll be braking going on. Key here is look at Lando Norris's hands and look at his lock. See, at that speed, and having slowed the way he had, and having to take that tight line, he's pretty much locked it over, and his car has gone round that curve and ended up where it was. There isn't a lot more he could do there. Okay, but entering that corner on that trajectory at that speed, locking that over the way he did, that is the curve you're going to take, and it's going to bring you to the edge of the track where it brought him, meaning there's not the room on the outside for him. And this is where the problem becomes, and this is where the point at which you make the judgment as to who is allowed what for that corner. Now, I don't know, because I'm not a Formula One driver. I don't know exactly where them guys are braking, decelerating, but there needs to be the acknowledgement of, okay, this is the point on the track where the judgment is made. On entry to that corner, like 100 yards back, 200 yards back from entry of that corner, you need to be at this point, okay, relative to your car that you're competing against. Otherwise, you back off. If you're at this point, you're entitled to racing room around the corner. All right, we'll watch that through again. So here it goes again. Again, listen out, and I'll play it without pausing. Norris is clearly looking in his mirrors. You can see his helmet turn to the left, so he knows Perez is there. 150 alongside. Okay, we're now going to look at it from Perez's point of view. If you compare what Norris has done there in terms of the amount of room he's left for Perez on track, compare that to the video I did about Hamilton on Albon at the 2020 event here in Austria at that same turn, where Hamilton was on track and where Norris was on track running the driver off. Hamilton is about a car width to the right of where Norris was, and Hamilton still got the blame for that. Anyway, let's have a look at what it's like from Perez's point of view. If you think about what we've just watched, I would suggest that about 75 metres from that corner, somewhere between the 100 metre marker and the 50 metre marker, is when there was an engine. You heard something different. The engine tone was different, so whether it's braking and it's down changing, about 75 metres out, I would suggest. That's about as accurate as we can make. Let's compare that with what it sounds like from Perez.
Your battery's good.
Okay, Perez was half a car ahead. He decelerated again. It's probably about 80 metres away from that corner. Looking at their marker board, he'd passed the 100 metre marker board, but it was well before the 50. So probably 80, 85, 90 metres before the corner he's decelerating. I don't think Perez has done anything particularly wrong there. Okay, I think he was entitled to track room. Norris, it was quite late for Norris to react, to have to put the brakes on harder to take the tighter line to leave him the track room. But Norris seemed to be on full lock going around there, and going around there at that speed was going to naturally drift him out there. But he did run Perez out of track room. We'll just play that through one more time. Just shows you how much Perez actually loses, because he loses all these places, and then there's an Aston that goes by him, and then Daniel Ricciardo goes by him.
Your battery's good.
So we can clearly see what's happened. We can clearly see that Norris, the car on the inside, has come over on him, and there's nowhere for Perez to go. So what then happened? Well, it went to the stewards to see what the FIA stewards decided. And they say, as noted above, the stewards often must make decisions quickly and on a limited set of information. At the time of the decision, the stewards felt they'd got sufficient information to make a decision which subsequently broadly aligned with the immediate post-race comments of both drivers involved. They felt the forward video camera of this is the wrong one. Oh, this is the wrong one. Sorry, I've made a human error here. I'm showing you the wrong official FIA document where the stewards are complaining that they must make a quick decision. That was from Brazil 2021. The one where Max Verstappen ran Lewis Hamilton off the track. But yeah, I know what you mean, Stuart. You often have to make a quick decision. I feel for you. Makes me want to play you some violin music. Wasn't expecting it to kick in like that. So they have to make a quick decision. It was 13 minutes 59 seconds where that incident took place on lap 4 of the Grand Prix. And then they swiftly, at 24 minutes 11, on lap 13, tell us that the car under investigation is Lando Norris on Sergio Perez. And then on lap 20, it gets announced that Lando Norris gets a time penalty, and that's at 32 minutes 24 seconds. So bearing in mind the incident took place at 14 minutes, it takes till 32 minutes, some 18 minutes 20 odd seconds later, for the stewards to make their decision. 18 minutes later. Now, the stewards must make a decision quickly and on a limited set of information, which is why they couldn't determine that Max Verstappen had done anything wrong in Brazil. But what did they do? Having received a report from the race director, have considered the following matter and determining that Lando Norris forcing another driver off the track is the fact. Forcing another driver off the track, which is a breach of Appendix L, Chapter 4, Article 2 of the FIA International Sporting Code. So they actually know what the FIA International Sporting Code is now. That's that document that explains that the sport is conducted as a sport, and all of the competitors know and abide by the rules of the sport and don't go making up a new version of the rules, a new interpretation of the rules on the 199th time that those rules are applied in that way. The decision is a 5-second time penalty for Norris and 2 penalty points on his licence. Okay? And the reason is quite key here. Okay? The stewards reviewed the evidence and said, at the entry of turn 4, Perez and Norris were side by side. Okay? At the entry of turn 4, Perez and Norris were side by side. Then on exit, Norris was judged not to give Perez enough room, and Perez was forced off track. Okay, so let's just double check this one. Let's just check if they were side by side on entry to the corner. Well, the car on the outside was slightly ahead there. And this is the aerial view. So on entry to the corner, are the cars side by side? It looks like they're side by side on entry to the corner. Yeah, that's pretty much side by side on entry to the corner. So therefore, the car on the outside is entitled to space, because the FIA stewards have told us this. Yep, that's side by side. And we come around the corner there, and one car seems to be going on a direction which seems to be going over here, doesn't it? Doesn't seem to be going up here, which is where it needs to go to give the other car room. And oh, there's no room. It's ran the other car off the track. Oh, there's no space to the right hand side of the car that's on track. It's ran the other car off the track. Oh, and this picture here, if you look in the bottom left hand corner, you see there's a car there underneath the F1 kind of edge of the F1 logo and the play sign. There's a car there, and there's a car on its outside, so it does show you that two cars can make it around that bend side by side. The red car didn't run this car out of room, and this orange car clearly has taken a line which affords the car on the inside some room. So it is possible, but let's just check Norris's on board again. Look at Norris's hands to see what Norris does going around this corner. Locks it on. Okay, so we'll just go through that again. It's only at that point there where Norris is straightening his car up, bringing it off the lock, isn't it? Okay, but he's already run the other car out of track room essentially. Okay, he's tried to make it around there for the most part, using the steering lock on his car to make his car go around that bend. Let's just compare that with the other camera angles. Let's have a look. Look at Lewis's hands. Look at the can't even say the word, trajectory of Lewis's car. He's got to make it around so his right front tyre clips the apex of that curb. Okay, so that's why he's putting the steering input that he is. And he's had to adjust that steering input because a car has come across him, has come across the line that he's entitled to be on. Okay, constantly having to adjust because this car is running him off the track. And that's a really bumpy curb, which has obviously done damage to his car. Right, we'll look at it from young Maxwell's perspective when this kicks in. I did record it, I promise you. Here we go. Slowing down. Got a car on his outside. Look at his hands. Is there any sign of a lock? And does he open his hand? Does he open that steering to cut across to the next apex to force the other car off the track? You'll see that again. Does he lock it to make sure he takes a tight line? Okay, to make sure that he does leave track room? Or, well, no, he doesn't. You'll see it for yourself. And once he's gone around that first bend, you'll actually see him begin to release the steering to drift the car further right. So Chandok going, oh, and Max carries so much extra speed, and it's understeer. No. What it is, it's Max steering the thing to run the other car off the track. Look at what Norris did, and look at the intent from Verstappen. But luckily, you've got Martin Brundle to educate you.
From Lewis Hamilton, the two championship protagonists came together at the first breaking point.
That was absolutely exceptional driving there. Verstappen, the Red Bulls did get off the line, but Lewis tried to brave it out around the outside and ran out of road in these conditions. And Max is entitled to take the line.
I don't know if I've got damage. He pushed me right wide in turn one.
This time last year, it was his teammate Valtteri Bottas who ran over debris and picked up damage. Hamilton has got bodywork damage on his Mercedes, as we're looking now at car number 55, Carlos Sainz.
So, exceptional from Verstappen, who was entitled to take that line. Says Brundle. Says Brundle, the expert. But at Austria 2021, when it doesn't involve Max Verstappen, the stewards say that at entry to the turn, the cars were side by side, and on the exit, one car was not judged to have given the other car enough room, and the other car was forced off the track. And that results in a 5-second penalty and 2 penalty points being added to your licence. Strange, isn't it? Strange. You're seeing a picture emerge? Well, if you're not, there's 2 further examples in Austria 2021 where drivers are forced off track and penalties are given, and we're going to go through them. That'll do for this one. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible because I know you won't. Most people will not watch an hour video through, so there's no point in me doing an hour video through if only 10 minutes, 20 minutes if it's going to get watched. So that'll do for this one, and tune in for what else happens at Austria 2021. Thanks for your time.